always on the board if you follow the scene. That is Yoip, Rubinski, and Jurgen. And Yoip often playing kind of different, a little bit of off, meta weapons. Rubinski a little bit more traditional, but I think what's really interesting here is as you look at the Rubinski Uni battle, Rubinski and the rest of his team often like to run things like shotguns. We don't see a lot of that otherwise. So I'm intrigued to see just how that pans out, especially considering Nightmare are full poke. That is a repeater, an LH1, and the Big Iron coming out on one team.
Big Iron.
Big Iron.
Exactly. So we have a poke play style going up against a very dive and brawl kind of play style. Which one will come out on top? Me personally, I like to brawl. Poking and not my forte. Maybe my aim's not the best, but this is gonna be an exciting match here. I love the rework they did over here at Monaco with the suspended structures. We are not on suspended structures, but shout out to Embark yet again cooking with the map reworks.
I tell you what, I'm gonna need to head over to ApeSquad.org and get Gremlin to coach me a little bit because I would love to know exactly what the thought process is behind this build right here. He is running Mesh, he is running Healing Emitter, most likely playing for these long-range poke battles, just a little bit of sustain, keeping him alive. But we do not see much of this at all. This is probably the first time, I know in the qualifiers we saw some teams experimenting it, but I have not seen anyone run this before. That's pretty exciting.
No, exactly. We do have a plug, an early plug here. And we're going to see how Nightmare decides to take this on the offensive position here. My frying on Brock.
Oh, Lasagna!
Lasagna getting taken out so fast. Now Gremlin's in big trouble here. Mesh comes out, Dome Shield comes out. Heal Ball coming out. All of his resources is being so burned. And he lives in that situation, which is absolutely insane to see Gremlin living that right there. That's a big play. Just staying alive right there is massive.
They get to the high ground. They're trying to run away, but on the backside, they've seen him immediately.
Oh, the back shots!
Dome! Immediately taken out. The chase is on from Gremlin now, looking to finish them off. The revive onto the Lasagna was huge there. Uni taking some damage on the backside, has not yet got down as they continue to chase for these positions. The kite is just all out right now for the side of FiveFears because they still are in control of this box.
Big Dome shot
onto the light. Jurgen takes out Uni on well at the backside, but it's only Yoip right now with full health on the side of FiveFears. 2 versus 3, but there's not a lot of health left. He has that pike, but it is a nerf pike. He has to get away. Gremlin Lasagna also very low. Nobody on full health right now, but there is a defib onto Uni. 3v3 back again. Nobody's dying here, but Rubinski finally with a kill onto Gremlin. They have to go for the steal in just a matter of moments. Lasagna taking the high ground, but at this point, this is all FiveFears' point. They have the ability to do whatever they want here. A backstab coming in from Uni, looking to finish him off with the LH1. Does take out Yoip, but he has to push for the steal right now. Can he get there? Lasagna dropping onto the point. Looks to go through some goo. He's getting healed up by his teammate, holding the steal. But the Big Iron is there. Gonna pick him out. They can't do it. FiveFears do get wiped finally, but the cash out is in control for them.
Wow, that was up and down, back and forth. Both of these teams. This is insane to see. Like I said, Gremlin playing with the mesh, able to burn all his util, staying alive, getting his teammate up. However, FiveFears holding it down, taking out Uni. I believe that was Jurgen that took out Uni, you said? Oh, just my.
Blew him up with that Big Iron. Big headshot there. And the kiting from FiveFears was exquisite in that fight. Just every time, even when somebody got picked off, just playing just far enough away that Nightmare never felt confident enough to force a steal. Amazing fight between these two. We are in for a treat.
Yes, we are. Like we said, we have a brawl and poke style respectively being played right here. So fun to see how FiveFears just needs to dive them, get in their face.
Interesting to see. We're still seeing Yoip on that pipe. Like I said, Yoip tends to really just, he believes in weapons and he sticks with them, even if it might not be the predominant, predominantly played. And so we're seeing that here again. He's sticking with this pike, even though it has been nerfed with a lot of that damage. A lot of people thought maybe it was just completely dead, but it's working for him. If you hit the shots, I mean, it still does a lot. And the difficulty of the repeater is that just the shots, there's not many bullets. It's a little bit harder to hit those shots, but the steal going through, it is in control of Nightmare, but the steal is there, baited out by Yoip. He dashes away as they continue to use this sustain from long range. This is, at some point, they have to go for the steal, though. There it is again. Yoip looking to get in, demats the wall, but he's getting spotted by Gremlin, who's just poking around the corner, not committing too far, though. They're playing very slow, very safe here. You don't want to get caught out of position, especially with so much damage from these weapons. They're long-range poke weapons, but that means they do a ton, and they hurt. Steal, once again, he keeps baiting this out, but the RPG is going to drop the point as he looks to get a return shot with that pike. He's underneath the entirety of the enemy team right now, playing very close on the side of Nightmare, keeping themselves right there, but there's a wedge in. Immediately, Lasagna gets melted. There's the strength of that big iron. Can he finish him off? No! He's able to survive on Robinski on a sliver of health. It's only Uni left. He's doing so much. Yoip at half health. It's all on Uni to hold on to this point. The flip does go there, but it's 1 versus 2. We've seen what Uni can do in these sort of overwhelming situations, but not a lot of time for him to get the flip. He's getting revived back up onto his team. They have to get this now where they're going to go down one map in this point. The C4 is there, but the C4 gets nailed. He has to jump, but as it hits the jump pad, this is FiveFears in 2 cash outs taking this against Nightmare.
Amazing right there. Played by FiveFears. Honestly, I think the detriment was Nightmare not being able to set the cash out outside. Yeah. Leaving that brawl style inside the buildings was kind of a detriment at the end right there for Nightmare, considering they are on the LH1, they're on the Big Iron, they're on the repeater. So having a fight up close like that in that building was a very tall task to ask for Nightmare right there. Once again, some of the best players in the game, but we're dealing with shotguns and, you know, winches and stuff. Jurgen going absolutely insane. So
6 kills.
6 kills on Jurgen. Look at that with the winch. Amazingly played by FiveFears.
I did say that I was not yet convinced of the Big Iron's place in the meta, and I still feel like the SA-12 definitely, in a lot of situations, feels like it's stronger. But I appear to be in for a masterclass today on why Big Iron deserves to be equally meta in the finals right now.
Right.
Because when he's hitting the shots, that was just incredible. You know, just the headshot, the precision of those shots was amazing.
You get a lot of precision as well as you're jumping up and down as well. There's not a lot of bloom with the Big Iron, so you could be pretty mobile with it as well and still hit your shots. Especially jumping down onto somebody. It's a really accurate weapon for sure. However, like you said, like the SA-12 is just so good with the combination with the winch on these brawl fights. It's really hard to beat SA-12 with a Big Iron, considering that, you know, when you're in their face, you got to hit those shots. And you got a handful of shots with the Big Iron to hit. And if you miss 1 or 2 of them, that is massively bad for you. So you got to hit those shots up close with that revolver. And hopefully we see a different kind of switch here with Gremlin, who we're most likely going to see going back to the SA-12, cleaning things up in that side on those side of things, depending on the map here. So,
and if you're a Nightmare fan, you know, like I myself am definitely a, you can call me Garfield. I'm a fan of lasagna, you know, I always will be. And, but, you know, that was on NA. That was NA servers. And Jurgen with the Big Iron was still popping domes like he was on his home servers. So, ping not mattering for that man whatsoever. And now that we're about to move to to EU servers and he's on his home ping, if I was Nightmare, I would be a little concerned. Just because if you're struggling, and to be fair, they weren't struggling. That was a very close match. Like both of those were down. It was 2 cash outs.
2 out, but it was back and forth for sure. Bet to the nail.
Yeah,
exactly. Both cash outs. Right. Like I said, like we were talking about the repeater versus the pike, and one thing I feel like the repeater has for it, in a way, is that stripper clip, is that like ability to shove in 5 rounds real quick with that speed reloader kind of mechanic. So you can kind of keep pressuring a little bit more with the Peter over time, but clearly it kind of, I don't know. I guess Pike is still good, right? It's all right. Peter's good though as well. So That's a very interesting matchup to see players are opting for the repeater over the pike nowadays.
I mean, you can get so wrapped up in, time to kill and specific damage numbers and, exactly which gun kills lights 0.25 seconds faster than the other one.
Right.
And if you do enjoy getting into that, you can go to apesquad.org because they have phenomenal data on all of the different guns and so much different information in the game itself. So you should do that, apesquad.org. However, if you just feel comfortable with a weapon, if you know the ins and outs of that weapon and you are able to make it work, like Uni with the M11. Not a lot of people pick an M11, but Uni will always come back to that when his back is against the wall because of how confident he feels with that, how comfortable he is with it, right? And so comfort with the weapon, so long as it's not a trash weapon, will always be worth about as much as being slightly better.
You know me, Walt. I'm a respective one trick myself, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Some of the weapons you could just learn a little better and pick the right angles for the weapons, and every weapon kind of has its own respective play style. So you can make pretty much a lot of different things, especially on light, work in the metas, considering the light weapons are rather strong all around the board. So we are here at Fortune Stadium, Game 2, Nightmare versus FiveFears on EU ping right now. So kind of an uphill battle Nightmare has to do, but I think they'll be just fine.
And we're not seeing both heavies going SA-12 right now, and we see FAMAS for both mediums as well. And then 93R for Rubinsky and Uni, of course, with that M11. So on this map, where there aren't quite so many of these long choke points, and it's a lot easier to get in on top of people, there's not that high ground in the church like Monaco has. You're going to see these teams playing for the more brawl style. They're not running with the big iron. Gremlin choosing to go back to the winch as well instead of that mesh. Might have gotten to get the winch into the hallway, immediately taking a lot of damage, backs out into his own dome. Glitch comes out from Yoip. He drops onto the high ground, immediately picks out Uni from the backside. Jurgen and Rubinsky playing nice and close together in the stairway there. Lasagna with the heal beam, actually not running DMAT. He's trying to keep his heavy alive. Gremlin running for the hills. The winch is there, but he gets taken out again by Rubinsky, just shredding through the enemy team with this 93R. They're all gone in FiveFears.
Shout out Rubinsky, peeling crazy with that light 93R. He was able to take out, he saw Uni in a bad shape, completely into it on Uni, taking him out really quick and doing a lot of chip damage on the other two players as well. Rubinsky going crazy with the 9-3R right now. Well played on the side of FiveFears all around. As Nightmare spawning in right now, gonna take the pad over. One more opportunity here to try to flip things around. Rubinsky taking some back shots on the off angle right there. However, he's gonna get regrouped with his team right now.
They have some time still. They don't have to take this super fast. But already a pick is there. He almost gets Yoip, but the fact that he gets away is going to be so useful for FiveFears. That's going to give them the DMAT. They can still delay this a lot more than they could otherwise. And he's playing underneath. C4 drops this down. There's no more drops available for this cash out. But with only a few seconds left, they have to start for something. Gremlin missing the winch. He looks to focus on the point. They're backing away and healing each other up, trying to play evasive for the moment. Still about 10 seconds left for them to start this steal. Dome goes down from the heavy, but Gremlin getting harassed by both sides. Yoip picks off one. The dream is dwindling. Uni takes out one, but gets the reverse by Jurgen. It's only Lasagna by himself. With that Famosity gets taken down, and Yoip getting the team wipe. FiveFears continue to be dominant in this matchup.
Exactly. FiveFears instilling the fear in Nightmare. They are a nightmare themselves to be reckoned with right now. So Nightmare gonna have to turn things around rather drastically here. Losing that first cash out is a very big deal in this matchup, especially considering the ping situation. Nightmare really got to lock in right here and try to figure out how they want to take out. I think Rubinsky's taxing a lot on these off angles, so it's unfortunate that Gremlin wasn't able to take him out in that last fight right there.
Nightmare really like to play for these kind of 1v1 like pickoffs, especially on the side of Uni, and they're just not really isolating that right now. The movement and the evasiveness from FiveFears is really causing them issues because they play so much on that. Uni has not disappeared into the support like role that we've seen so many other people do. It's something that Grad is really good at on Space Station Gaming, one of the most heavy supports that we've seen. And a nice steal there from Uni. He just crosses, nabs the vault. It's just a robbery out here. They've just grabbed him and they're running. They're gonna go plug over an A.
Well played right there. They're gonna get a decent. Oh, Lasagna taking a lot of damage on the cross on the zip line right there. He's gonna live by the skin of his teeth right there. As FiveFears are coming in, they are gonna come in rather aggressively and try to take the rest of this fight. Goo comes out. They're gonna go for a flip potential.
Picks off Rabinski. That's already one down. The steal is just not happening right now, is that both fights are just not going the way of FiveFears. I really thought that they had that because of how closely they were following Nightmare. I thought they were going to roll over him, but Uni with that initial pick just blew the fight over.
Right. Lasagna taking a lot of damage, able to survive as Uni, able to peel for his team, taking out. I didn't see that as it was unfolding right there, but Uni really peeling for his team and taking someone out was a massive upside for the side of Nightmare. As FiveFears spawns in here, they're going to probably take high ground, figure out a pad TP potential play right here. So we'll see how Nightmare decides. Not a lot of time on this. We got about halfway through the cash out as FiveFears is trying to figure out how to rotate in. Looks like they are going for a TP play. They do put the TP down, and FiveFears is now under the cash out.
It's a difficult one, though, with 2 C4 charges on top of it and the barrel. They have to go for this soon. They don't have an EPS to get rid of things. They're looking for the drops. Take care of the C4. No more drops left on this point. They have to start for the steal eventually, though, in the high ground, firmly in control of Nightmare right now. The FAMAS from Lasagna is just doing so much damage. Yoip tries to get up on the side, but the jump pad is not enough, and the kite is coming out from Nightmare now. They're just playing evasive, trying to run. He has eyes on Rabinski has eyes onto Gremlin. Gremlin is just running, evading with everything he has. He's finally turned around, gets picked off by Jurgen. 3 versus 2. They have a chance now, but the defense is still possible. Lasagna looks to get a defib onto his heavy, but the steal is happening. You need to look at this right now. You need to prevent this. The goo does go down, but doesn't prevent it. It doesn't. They're going to be able to get the steal. The flip is there. Does he have time? He doesn't. It was so close. Uni gets Rabinski at the last second. Oh my gosh.
Insane. You're telling me that goo did not get the stop right there, and they still didn't get it. That is incredible. That was so close. 4 FiveFears. Yeah, the timing. Wow. Nightmare able to clutch that one out. That was. Now we're going to a third and final cash out here at Fortune Stadium. It is on the line for Nightmare right now. They need this game so they can proceed on to the next match in this set.
I would not be feeling confident about that if I was Nightmare. That was too close.
That was crazy.
It was too close, man. You were not in control of that fight. That was a matter of milliseconds, and you just did not get what you needed. They have to make sure they have to take this fight too before it crosses. If they let this cross to D and they are not able to contest it, this could spell their upper bracket life.
Right,
already
exactly.
the gateway is there. Oh, they're turning it around. They're running the C.
Oh,
They've decided
they hit the
to turn.
reverse.
Reverse.
Yeah, D would have been a crazy point to plug. Probably one of the most strongest catch outs on defense in the game. Similar to Hospital on Soul. Not quite Soul, but similar in many regards.
And
however, they do plug in. Yeah, they plug in C, and they're going to get a defense here. As Nightmare hold the high ground position, FiveFears is going to rotate out, play low ground, and try to retake high ground potentially in a second here.
I don't think Nightmare are too upset about this, though, simply because they don't have to worry about D. D is just such a brutal point. Because even if you are the ones to get the plug, if you ever get that, if you ever drop it, it's basically over. So having to do a vault fight around there just feels so high stakes. This way, there's a lot more chances. It's already dropped multiple floors. There's only so many more drops. Now we have available Nightmare continuing to retain the high ground. We get to see, I love this point because we always get to see this really nice sort of side view where these teams are moving up and down. The movement is there. They've actually been spotted, though. Rabinski goes down. Lasagna, a beamer with that FAMAS. He's doing the same to the medium. Yoip is getting jumped on by the entirety of the team. Look at the collapse there from the side of Nightmare, just surrounding the entirety of FiveFears, and they go down in a blink of an eye.
Wow, well played for Lasagna right there. Able to take out Yoip very quickly there, and now Nightmare is going to have a strong defensive opportunity here to clutch out the rest of this game.
It's gonna be a tight one. They're about to coin back in, but with only about 40 seconds left by the time they get here, it's gonna be almost a just full assault on the point, especially now that they've winched it out into the open. They had enough time to do this, so all eyes.
Yeah, this is a really good
FiveFears.
setup for Nightmare. They know what they're doing here. I've seen this time and time again for them. It's a great setup. They have a great opportunity. They're going to go for a winch in. Try to take this point inside right here with the goo. C4 comes out, not a lot.
The C4 blew up his own goo. He's not going to be able to hold on to it. They went for this, but they just get surrounded once again. FiveFears, a little bit of miscommunication there. All the C4 on the point plus his own destroyed the goo that they tried to use for cover.
And it's seeming like being on ping is actually an advantage, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
You gotta be on ping to win the game.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, well played by Nightmare. So close on that second cash out. They were able to clutch it and go to a third cash out and clutch the rest of this game. We are at a 1-1 situation here. Game 3, baby. Coin flipped. See which ping we're going to go on. As we look at this bracket, as the leaderboard right here, both teams going crazy. Uni getting quite a bit of kills this time around. 6 kills, 4,000 damage on the side of Uni. Really able to peel for his team, like on that second cash out, where he was able to take them out, crossing over while Lasagna was hurt, and really supplant an advantage on these team fights on the side of Uni and Nightmare.
Really nice plays from them. That second cash out was way too close for comfort. I think.
That really
comes down to a coin flip. I mean, like
that was literally milliseconds. Literally milliseconds. Came down to the wire for sure.
If you're FiveFears in this situation, like you have to just be you gotta just be wondering what God was upset with you on that one, because that was a matter of hairs of a tenth of a second. But hopefully they can pull this back. We are rehosting, so we're gonna be heading back to NA, which like you said, maybe that's better for FiveFears. Maybe it's
ping
better
is
if
an
they don't have
advantage.
their ping. Like turns out if you
these teams.
You just lead every shot. You treat the big iron like it's a projectile weapon.
Right. It's a KS with extra steps.
Oh yeah,
a KS with crits.
I am wondering, because as we get back in, we are going to be on Nozomi. So Nozomi, one of those maps that we talked about this a little bit earlier, tends to lend itself to some long range, especially if you position the cash out in the correct spots. You can force close range if you really want to, but I do feel like we're going to see these teams go back to what worked for them in the first map. I would not be surprised to see Jurgen back on that big iron. I really think that this map, especially with some of the choke points, is going to work. But do you think that Nightmare will do the same? Because it worked so much better for them when they were on the more brawling playstyle with the SA-12, the M11 on Uni, having that FAMAS on Lasagna. It felt like they were more comfortable.
Right. It's honestly hard to say. I think we might even see an M11 on Uni. I think I've seen Uni run M11 on Nozomi. I think I've even seen him run the silent pistol as well before going crazy with that.
Oh, thing.
Rare. I doubt we'll see that thing coming out. But
I wish.
As far as the heavy medium situation, I think I can kind of go any way here. Maybe we might see Pike again on FiveFears. But as far as Nightmare, we might just see, the FAMAS SA-12 with Uni kind of doing his own thing depending on what he does. I honestly wouldn't have a clue what these teams will run, but it's certainly exciting to see what they opt for here at Nozomi Citadel. Like you said, very versatile map. It can kind of go either way depending on which cash out you grab here. So.
And that's why I think this is such a fun game to watch, because the maps do matter a lot. Like you do pick a map, we just saw that, right? The difference between Fortune and Monaco was crazy in terms of how teams played and the choices that they made. But you can never be fully guaranteed. You have to be prepared for every situation. And so in a situation like Nozomi, similar to Sis Horizon, you could get, a cash out in the museum. You could get a cash out in the Zen Garden and have to deal with the long range. So I like Nozomi a lot because it does throw you have an idea of how the map plays, but there's always a
curveballs.
Curveballs. Curveballs the exact word I was going to use. That's perfect.
Right, man, exciting game 3 right here. Nightmare, FiveFears, both respectively 1-1. We are going into Nozomi Citadel. Excited to see what these teams are. It looks like Lasagna's on the FAMAS, like I said, and the SA-12, so kind of called that one out.
Yep, sticking with those 93R for Uni. Going to go to something that a little bit easier, a little, not having to deal with ping. You're going to get a little bit more value out of the 93R, but not going with that LH1. It seems like the LH1 was a little bit of a failed experiment for them.
Right.
The question is, what do we have on the other side? We do have FAMAS, SA-12, and 93R, so nobody going for this long-range pick. As the team's about to duel it out over top of this first vault. The tap does come out from FiveFears, but Nightmare in hot pursuit, harrying them throughout the floors of this building. And this is going to be a gateway dropped from Uni. He looks to just separate, but a very aggressive push from Jurgen. And he's just in the air. Yoip as well, very, very low. Here comes the light. Also, just jumping into the skies and getting completely beamed by the team of Nightmare, setting themselves up for death. I'm not sure.
That was definitely not the play to be aggressive like that on that pad play. Like you said, Nightmare got some shooters, so if you're gonna pad up, you gotta come up with a mesh or some kind of like way to block in damage. However, he is on winch, so diving like that, not the play for the side of FiveFears. Able to take out Jurgen almost instantaneously out of the sky. However, they do get the spawn in, they're padding over, and they're gonna get positioning here on the bottom of this next cash out.
They do have a very nice position already. They didn't have to deal with any difficult pushes. There's the pad. About to head up. They're going to have eyes with the entirety of Nightmare see where they are right now. Joy taking a little bit of damage, but the DMAT's there, drops it through the floor. They have a chance now to go for a steal. Joy can sit on this, as he always does. The medium with the health going to be going for those steals. But both teams not doing too much. They're playing very aggressively, but Gremlin just gets destroyed by an RPG and the winch coming in from the alternative over there on Jurgen. The winch in return, he's very, very low himself. Jurgen goes down. Yoip about to go down as well. Uni is just shredding with his 93R. We know what he can do, but Rabinski does take him down. Immediately, Lasagna melts him in return, survives, and keeps his light revenged. A nice start from FiveFears, getting Gremlin and just shredding him, but Uni is always coming up clutch.
Taxing the back line, taxing the people in the back. You know, these teams are they get tunnel vision after they get a kill on somebody, like they just got killed on a kill on Gremlin. Uni was able to tax the back line as they were kind of tunnel vision on that play right there. So they're gonna get another opportunity here. Lots of time on point to make a play. So nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, you're right. Look at Uni positioning again. He's off to the side. He's not with his team. He's not playing the support role. He wants to catch them on the backside. He wants to surprise them. An RPG, they're pushing Lasagna. The steal is going out, but they had to back away because they're losing health. Jurgen goes down. Uni again continues to shred. Lasagna goes down, however. Rubinski doing a lot, but he's the last member left on his team. The cash out timer is ticking down. Uni finally finishes him off, but that is it. It's over for this cash out, and Nightmare going up one cash out in this third match. They are a hair's breadth away from moving further in this bracket.
Uni is the name of the player right there. He is just taxing the back line. Lasagna, well played as well on the side of Lasagna, able to put the goo down, live a little bit longer, try to make that team waste as much time as possible as they entered onto Lasagna. So, and then Uni, peeling in the back line as that's happening. All of that is happening. So Uni playing very, safe and taking these really nice off angles as FiveFears decides to int on Nightmare.
I would have liked to see FiveFears maybe stick with some of the initial choices they made. They are catching Nightmare on their way to plug. Gremlin taking some damage, but Rabinski is on the hunt. He is hungry for blood as he chases the heavy down. Uni off to the side.
Nice.
Taking down Gremlin, the heavy down for Nightmare as they look for the rest of them. Uni is off to the side, but he's very isolated. Lasagna quite low on health as well, but Uni takes out Rabinski, not afraid of being in the midst of all three. He's just dodging around all of the debris in the floor. He's already taken out two. Can he take out Jurgen? Lasagna finishes it off, but Uni in the midst of three somehow picks off two and doesn't even pay for it.
Rabinski getting a big pick, but Nightmare turning it around. Yet again, man, these guys are going crazy. Both
Crazy
teams. Now we
stuff.
have Nightmare gonna have the plug over here. This is a pretty good spot. They want to be on this side of the map. They can really control the spawns here. I think that's the name of the game over here. Is, making sure that they spawn in certain locations and then taking those chip damages on the way crossover.
I really wish we'd
FiveFears
seen
does get spawned.
FiveFears stick with the kind of pelt that they had. Maybe not Pike, but even the Big Iron. You know, just like if Uni feels safe, I don't think you're happy with the state of the game. Uni should not feel safe because he unlocks so like Lasagna and Gremlin play so well together, but Uni, as we've seen so many times, when he plays in these angles and he's able to move around with impunity, it just makes life so hard for FiveFears because they can never collapse onto the picks and the damage that they do.
And having an SA-12 is rather difficult to take out a dashing light in the back line. Big Iron probably a better option for something like that. And getting those headshots with that thing could be massive on a light. Not a lot happening right now.
Oh, he's gone!
Oh my god, that's not good for the side of FiveFears. Uni taking out Yoip. Oh my.
They've collapsed on him too. He has eyes though, the movement. They just got him everywhere they go. They are just being spotted. FiveFears. I felt like they were just, they had no idea how to approach that cash out. Like
Gremlin with a massive three-piece right there.
Huge three-piece from Gremlin. Amazing stuff. And with that, it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to push. They get this winch out. They have the gas on point. There's enough time for FiveFears to get there. They are going to have to be perfect. There is zero room for error as they rush at this point. 30 seconds left for them to get this steal.
They are going to want a miracle to try to take this point right here.
No, Rabinski, what happened?
What happened?
I think he just left the match. I think he just decided it was over.
Wow.
I think he said there's no time, it's not going to happen anyways. They decided that was basically it. And I mean, to be fair, that was basically game. There really just was not. It was game. There was no chance of them getting there. You hate to see it though.
That's like Hail Mary from your own 1 yard line. Like it's not going to happen.
Put on a show. You know, gets people want to see the Hail Mary throws. You know, it's big. Maybe and here's the thing. 99 times out of 100, that doesn't work. But sometimes it does. You know. Like right? Like
sometimes you get I've seen some crazy stuff,
right? Uni falls asleep because he thinks it's a free game, and his hand slips off the mouse, and all of a sudden you get a steal. Like I mean, again, it probably wasn't happening, but I think
might as well try. You want to try. I think that was certainly my first time seeing somebody leave or DC in a competitive game here that we host, but unfortunately,
and it could be any number of things, like there's it could be other things. I'm not going to cast aspersions on somebody because who knows.
Sure.
But that does mean Nightmare move forward.